Can I zoom out? Yes, I can. Quite a ways. Awesome. Let's see how this goes. Let it run for a few minutes. This is the first, well, I say this is the first, this is a couple in, but since TikTok has decided to restrict me just trying to help folks find parts for their locomotives, because it quote unquote takes them from the platform, then I guess this is the route we get to go. Welcome to one of my first lives. Naturally, we're running vertically here instead of horizontally. I don't know how that's going to affect things here in the future. But you can see I've got a dd40 here and I've got an f45 here. And I'm going to let this one run for a little bit and see if we can't get a good chat going. And in the meantime, I'm going to do a little bit of cleanup and sorting here while waiting on people to show up. I don't know if I can share this with others or how I can do this. No, there's really nobody I can share it. Well, because the groups can't be shared to either. So, because the Facebook got rid of groups. Coupler. There. That's all trash. I don't know. Let's see here. So yeah, so we're just kind of, well, zoomed in again. I'll try to zoom back out again. There it goes. But yeah, if you're swinging by, holler. If you got any questions or want to talk, let me know. I'm just kind of doing some sorting right now. Got all my couplers and that sorted. I was doing a live on TikTok, and I got in trouble for telling somebody where they could get good parts. So I wasn't sending them to anything that would benefit me. I was just trying to help them, and got in trouble for it. So what are you gonna do? I think it probably would have helped possibly. I don't know if Service Plus had anything to do with it or not, but it made me sign up for that. But anyway, you cut it. I was just kind of frustrated with the whole ordeal. I was like, the heck with them. I'll just do my own thing somewhere else. So now I'm here and I get to start over again. And we'll go from there. Oh, shoot. Well, I don't know if the chat's actually working or not. If anybody can possibly put something on there so I can see if it's actually coming up or not. I want to be able to see if I can see anything from somebody. What do I got here? What's my next thing? Those are going to get put away tonight. They're done. I guess the next thing on my list is this bad boy. And this is a cotton belt. It's an SD40-2T. And it is a bugger to try to get the shell off. It's got a good motor in it though, that's for sure. It's got a quieter motor. The only downside to this one is I need to get the handrails and stuff all done on the body, and I haven't gotten that far yet. But yeah, you can see here it's got a pretty nice motor in it. It's got the solder points all done on it so that it's hardwired. This one, the motor sits in the opposite direction, which I thought was kind of odd, but it's not the end of the world. It's got cheaper trucks on it. They're plastic. I think they switched over to that stuff just to probably save money if I was to guess. But inside, it looks like it's in pretty good shape. The worm gears have been oiled like they should. The light mount is on like it should be. Slide that back out of the way here. You can kind of see what we got going on with this one. Well, gotta get it all on the track first. But you can see just how well that one moves. And how slow it can move too, or how fast I can get it to move. And since TikTok thinks I'm trying to sell bad to bad people, for those of you that didn't hear it already, we're trying to redirect people off their platform. They restricted everything I did, so everything I do on there now is basically moot. So hopefully those that have seen it can move here, and those that haven't, well, hopefully I catch them at some point in the future. But this is where I'm going to probably go from here on out to try to work on this stuff. What little bit of funds that I had made on there, I will go ahead and just send off to somebody else in the form of gifts. And I will start from here and try to build from here. Yeah, new motor mounts, motor's like new, runs nice and smooth. It's just a matter of building this frame or this body. And I do not have enough stanchions. I'm gonna have to order some to be able to do this. And then on the other side, I've got to try to mock up. If I look, yeah, and it's gonna, well, it's not gonna be different. That looks the same here. It's gonna be the same on this side. At least, no, it's gonna be straight all the way. Well, I say it's gonna be straight. It's gonna drop down and then go straight all the way across. So I'll have to get some pictures to see what I got to do there, and then especially for the handrails on the rear too, because I got to build all this from scratch, just like I did that dd40 that's sitting back there. I got to build all the handrails from scratch. Man, which is going to be a challenge. But I think this is probably going to be my next project, and I really like these style of locomotives. I'm just frustrated that the body is like this. So paint the side frames, paint the frame, paint the fuel tank, all to match this gray color, and go from there. Where is... I'm wondering why I'm stuck here. The wires are up where they're supposed to be. That's supposed to pop in right here. I think I had trouble with this one before for some reason or another. I think the light, yeah, the light has to get up in the cab just right or something. The way the cab's made. It's probably no wonder they weren't putting that on anything. There it goes. There it goes. But yeah, this is a pretty cool locomotive for what it is. And I picked it up for, oh, this side didn't pop. There it goes. I'm gonna say I picked it up for 25 or 30 bucks, I think. And that was with shipping. So I got a pretty good deal on this, and it's like new. But yeah, that's my next project. If you saw the TikTok I was on, we just finished this one. I want to do some paint work on top to break up the top, but as far as actual physical, the motor and everything is done. New motor mounts, new drive lines. I'll pop the sides off and show you this. This one's actually pretty nice for its age. So I did my solder joints for my wires. New spline shaft, the new female coupling here because that one was missing. The coupling here because it was missing. That spline shaft. This was all here already, but it came to me in pieces. This was laying in the box. The motor, I went ahead and tested it, and it ran good. And then the motor mounts they look like caramel candies that you had busted up with a hammer. I mean, there was nothing left of them. So I went ahead and ordered new motor mounts, which are what these are here. They're from Athearn. You can see the part number there. But this is what they look like. And it's just a rubber boot, basically, that you slip in the side of the motor and then shove through the holes on the bottom. And those are your motor mount holes there. You can see, well, it still works. But yeah, you can see that's where the motor mounts go. Let's see if it still works. Maybe I just created a new project. Who knows? Gosh, I hate it when I do that, when things slip my fingers. But, well, just like an old blue box, it's durable, that's for sure. At least it wasn't off a table. So yeah, that one works good. I'm going to pop that shell back on, and now that one's done, and I've shown you what all we did to this one this evening. But that one turned out pretty nice. There's my next project. And then this bad boy here is what I've been working on the last couple nights. Tonight I got on TikTok and we did the safety part of the handrails. I already did everything else. I had to hand build everything on the front. On the side here, I had to build those. And then I went ahead and was able to paint, and I painted the safety rails. And I built these over here. The only things I didn't have to build were the long ones that go down the sides. I had to build the one on the end completely as well. I have another dd40. Happy you like it, man. I had another dd40 that I mocked up the handrails on so that I could get it all put together right. That turned out pretty good. So I'm pretty impressed with this one. And actually, I've got those other two dd40s in the other room. I am going to put this one away, and I will go bring those other two dd40s out so you guys can have a good look at them for those of you that haven't seen anything that I've done before. Here we go. So these are my other two dd40s here. Oh, I've got this Union Pacific, and I've got this electromotive, I think that's how it was said, dd40. So far I've got 3 of them, and they're finished, and now all I got to do is collect more of them. I think I'm going to take this shell here. This is another identical dd40 shell. I think I'm going to take this shell and actually custom paint it and make something of my own. I've done pretty good work so far with some of the cheaper Tyco stuff that I've worked on, that I think I've got enough confidence in myself that I can make myself a custom one that says Loco Rail Runners down the side of it somehow, and make it look, pretty nice. And I don't know if it's going to be an actual one that runs for now, but it will definitely get put on a dummy chassis if I don't. And then it can be tied in and dragged behind these other 3, or pushed, to be leading the pack. But yeah, I've got a perfectly good shell here. It's got the glass in it and everything, that I think I'm going to take and custom paint and go that route with. This was the first one that I got. It was the side frames were black. The fuel tank was black. Didn't really look all that great. It was kind of beat up. The handrails were missing, and I was able to get all of this put together and have this one set up to where it actually runs really nice. And it's a single motor. You can see by the shaft in there. So you got a gearbox back here and a gearbox up here, and you have one motor. And the reason why you can tell it's a single motor is because of that shaft in there. When it's not a single motor, there's no shaft there, because you've got a motor on each end powering each individual truck. So that's kind of one way you can tell, and I'll show you, because this one's got 2 motors in it. If you look in there, there is no shaft in there. And that's how you can tell. If I pull this off and set it to the side, you can see the difference in what a dual motor setup looks like. And let me pop this one off and I'll show you on this one too, so you can see what a single motor setup looks like. I think these dd40s and the dd40 AX, I think is how you say it, are some of my favorite and some of the coolest diesel locomotives that they had out there that just didn't survive. That and those gas turbine ones as well. I thought those were pretty cool. But we're going to pop this off here so that you can see what I'm talking about. Let me set that shell back here. So it can go one of 2 ways, and this has got a newer motor in it, and it's got these contact bars in it, which I do need to go ahead and hardwire it. That way it's done. But this is how they set them up. So you would have a real long drive shaft here, which is what you can see when you're looking through the shell, that runs this gearbox and runs this gearbox. Where on a dual setup, you have a motor that runs each. Now, I wired them together on top because it only made sense, so that no matter what, your power can be picked up and both motors can run no matter what from either end of the locomotive. You can get your positive power while the motor picks up the negative from the bottom. So that's how I kind of set these up. It's not the cleanest soldering job in the world, but I'm not a professional either. I just, do the best I can with what I got. So, but that's the difference between a dual motor setup and a single motor setup on these. And these are the only things I've seen that are set up to run with dual motors in anything I've seen, actually, as far as HO scale trains go. I'm going to pop the shell back on this one now. And we'll put the shell back on the other one too. There's the front. There's the rear. And what happened with this one was the ears have kind of been eaten off of the locomotive. So even though it does move good and do what it's supposed to, and it's always a good rule of thumb too, don't pick up locomotives by their shell. It's just a bad idea. You don't know which ones the ears have been broken off of or anything of that nature. So always pick them up by the fuel tank, by the bottom of the locomotive if you got to pick one up. But yeah, so there's my set of 3 dd40s, and this is kind of funny. So this electromotive here, which is one of the more, from what I've seen anyway, and you can correct me if you think there's something different, but this is one of the more high dollar dd40s that people tend to want to have. I went to a train show in St. Louis and found this one in a box of junky track for $10. And it was funny. The guy that the guy that sold it to me, he said, "You got to take the whole box if you want it." I said, "Yeah." And I paid him $10 for a whole box of junk track and this locomotive. And it didn't have any handrails on it. None of it was painted. The side frames weren't painted. I didn't detail, I didn't have any detail up on top or anything. And I bought it, and I'm carrying it around, and I'm just happy as a lark because you just don't find these for $10. It just doesn't happen. And my father was with me, and we're walking around, and he goes, "Well," he said, "I am so tired of carrying this track." And I said, "Why?" He goes, "I'm tired of being asked why I'm walking around with all this junky track." Because you got to go to train shows and stuff that I got to buy him some junky track. People can harass him. but yeah, so I've got these 3 dd40s, and everything I've got total, I think I've got 135 different locomotives. From GP35s to DD40s to SD40-2s. I have a few steam locomotives, nothing crazy, but I have a few steam locomotives. SD60s, the RS locomotives, 1, 2s, and 3s. I've got a few switchers. I've got a lot of F units. I've got some nice proto E units. And I think I have a proto, I want to say I have a proto SD7 or SD9, and I can't remember which. I get those two mixed up a lot, and I think the only difference between the 7 and the 9 was the amount of horsepower they had. I have some rolling stock. I've got a couple here that I was working on. I find good deals on that stuff from time to time, especially at train shows. But yeah, I'm just kind of slowly working, and this channel that I'm building now is one of those deals where I'm trying to grow into something where I can teach people how to work on things. We can kind of collaborate together and come up with ideas to do different things and help each other. I really enjoy working on these and getting in basket cases, stuff that don't work, and fixing it. Eventually, I would like to get to a point where maybe the channel generates enough money that I can start doing giveaways and stuff too. I'd love to do that kind of stuff constantly. Fix something on video and then give it away so that somebody can enjoy it and they can see how it works, so they can go back and look at the video that I fixed it in and understand what I did and how I did it. That'd be a great way to put something with one. That way that a kid could go back and look at it for reference, and not be, lost whenever they bought something off of eBay or wherever, and doesn't know how somebody screwed with something and messed it up and it don't work. So that's something I was wanting to get into too. But doing all of this, this is just something I enjoy doing in my spare time. And with it being Saturday night, football games are over, motocross races are over, I'm kind of just winding down in here for the evening and hoping we can get some folks to come in here and join me. And we're doing that a little at a time. I know it doesn't happen overnight. You never can. Nothing ever happens overnight. It really doesn't matter what it is. But this is another project I'm working on that I think I have wired up the way it was supposed to go. This was a Athearn shell with a Bachmann body on it. This shell is from a Bachmann. And I'm trying to remember. It doesn't sit on there quite right, but it sits on there close enough that I can make it work. And I need to do a little more work to it to get it right. But let me move these dd40s out of the way here and scoot this rolling stock back here, and I'll show you what we got going on here. It'd be cool if I could find a flat car long enough to put a dd40 on it and take it around the track, but I haven't found one of those yet. You know, like the long ones that they put the... I've seen the videos where they have the airplanes on them, where they, you know, they build the fuselage and they take things off, and it's just like the cabin and the where the passengers would be. I'd like to have one like that that would actually carry a dd40. But let me show you what I got going on here. So we've got this here, this Athearn, and I wired, it has forward and reverse lights in it. And this is an old Athearn drivetrain with a newer shell that had forward and reverse lights in it, and it's got a circuit board in the top. And I figured out how to get it to work with directional lighting. Doesn't run the best, and I don't remember why. It looks like the wheels are pretty clean. I got to be careful taking this off because of the way I have it wired. And I say that because it's not, it works good. Here we go. Yeah, see, I put enough in there. Let me pull up close so you can see. I put enough in there to where you can see what you're doing and you can get it right. But I think part of my issue here is I really need to solder that wire to that tab and then run wires from here to here as well. Let me see if I can get a little close. If I can get it to zoom in while I'm way out there, that would help. Yeah. So you can see how it's got that. It's got a a diode in there as well. So you got lights for the front, you got lights for the rear. I did that backwards, but I have it wired up to where you have a wire that runs in the top. You have a wire that I have soldered to the frame on the bottom, and then it works the directional lighting. The only thing I have trouble with right now is it doesn't pick up power really, really well. And I think that's just because of how old it is. It's got metal side frames. That's how old this Athearn is. And as you can see here, it doesn't even have flywheels. So age could very well be playing a big factor in this. But for the moment, what I want to do is I want to try to clean the wheels. And my personal way that I like to do it usually is I take a paper towel and soak it in rubbing alcohol, and I'll lay it on the tracks up here. I think that's part of my problem too. I think my test tracks are freaking filthy. But let me try this and see what we get. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Let me put this over here in front of us so it's not visible. There we go. And I'm going to run to get some rubbing alcohol. Well, I've got rubbing alcohol in here. I'm going to run and get some paper towels, and I'm going to clean this track. That way it will pick up power a little better. And then I'm going to clean the wheels as well. Oh, let's see here. Here we go. So I've got, I've got my chair on wires. That's what I got right now. There we go. So I just take my paper towel. I'm going to zoom this back out for the moment. Come on. There it goes. Wow. It is just completely obstinate. There we go. That's crazy. So I got it zoomed out. I'm going to put my alcohol on my paper towel. And the first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and just wipe this track down real quick. At least just right here in front. That way I know I'm getting some good pickup here. And I know that the track's pretty dirty from me using it, putting dirty locomotives on it all the time. So we'll do it this way to start. Yeah, you can see the crap on it. So we'll do that, and I'm going to turn it over this way. I'm going to put this shell back on this locomotive. We're going to fire it up, and I'm going to back in over. What's up, Gerald? I'm going to back it up over that paper towel, and we're going to try to clean these wheels up. We have decided to migrate to here, Gerald, since Tickety Talk thinks that I'm doing things I shouldn't be, and I'm not doing any. It's sad because I'm not doing anything wrong, but we've migrated over here to try to keep that from being a problem. I'd hate to build up on there and then end up getting, raked over the coals, which it can happen here too. But we're going to pin line. I have heard of pin line. Where and that one I'm having a hard time remembering where I heard it, but I've heard it. So you see, I've got the wheels turning. And all I'm doing is sliding those wheels up and down that paper towel. And this works great for double drive locomotives. And I can tell this one really wants to push as well. So if I just lift it up just enough. Yeah, well, I think it might be a yellow box. I'm not 100% sure, but I think it might be a yellow box. It's that old. It's got steel side frames, and it doesn't have any flywheels on it. But you can see all the dirt that come off those wheels. So now we're going to see what we get as far as, yeah, that's way better. Way better, leaps and bounds better. So the only drawback I have here is that the cab doesn't want to sit where I want it to on the body. I think part of my dilemma too is I think I need to get rid. If I get rid of that, and I think that's that's for aesthetics too, not just because it's in the way. But if I get rid of those, it might sit a little better on there. Here's another GP35 I have that's made to sit on that body. But then again, it's got that piece there too. If you look, let me zoom in here. Varney, I haven't picked anything up from Varney here recently. I think I might have one. It's either a Varney or a Marks, and I can't remember which it is. And then I have some old rubber band drive Atherns too that don't work. They're actually just, I turned them into dummies because I had so much trouble keeping the rubber band drives working. And actually, I have one of those motors sitting in my drawer here somewhere. I think this is going to end up being the better way to go than TikTok. I think this is going to be definitely more fulfilling. I'm happy you guys are all in here this evening. The only trouble I have is trying to get those wires up in there where they're supposed to be and not getting pinched in alongside the locomotive and giving me trouble trying to get the body to sit down inside. There we go. And it sits forward like that and in like that. But otherwise, I think it looks pretty good for what it is. Varney became lifelike. See, I didn't know Varney actually became lifelike. That's a new one for me. I haven't heard that one yet. I'll be dog. The one thing about this, though, was I was happy I was able to make it into a directional light locomotive for how old it is, too. No, man, you learn something new every day. I didn't know Varney was a lifelike. What am I trying to say here? That Varney was before lifelike, which is kind of sad because the older Varney locomotives were built way better than than a lot of your newer lifelike locomotives. You know, the lifelike stuff's all cheap plastic and stuff. I know they went to the Proto has lifelike now, which means they bounced back. But yeah, it was kind of disappointing looking at some of that lifelike stuff that they made in the 90s. It's just not, the quality is just not there. And I say I despise them. I'll fix whatever. It's not a big deal. Because I've fixed Bachmann's. I've got 2 Bachmann's actually on this channel that had pancake motors, but I kind of despise the pancake motors. They're temperamental. They're easy to burn up. They're easy to get oil in the wrong spot, and they don't want to work. They don't pick up power real well. Yeah, I can think of a million reasons why I don't like a pancake motor. Looky there, there's one of my lifelike frames there from one of my cheap lifelikes. Let's see, what else do I got in the parts bin here? I do have some Power Torx engine blocks. The models of the 40s and 50s and 60s are so tough, and I believe that 100%. 100%. They made things to last then, and I don't think they even meant to do it, and they made them to last. That's just a weight for a Tyco. That's a weight for a Tyco. That's more Athearn parts. I'm going to do something too. So all of my Athearn stuff, I work on and fix so many of these Athearn locomotives that I am going to just make a designated spot for all my Athearn parts, all my Athearn specific parts. Let's see here. What do I got over here? Nothing. Okay. Yeah, I am going to make a designated area for all my for all my Athearn stuff. The old wooden rolling stocks. See, now I've heard about it and I've seen them in videos, but I haven't seen any actually in person. So that's new to me. I know I have the male end of those couplers. The question is, what did I do with them? Because I needed them for a Proto. I actually was able to buy some Athearn parts. I have a video I put up. I bought some Athearn parts for a Proto that I had that had broken pieces. I was so disappointed with that one when I got it because they said it ran and it came in, and when I turned it on, it picked up power, but the spline shafts with the piece that hooks to the ball and socket were just slapping around in the locomotive because they were broke off. And I was kind of aggravated about it. I was like, well, you lying, you know, it's a good thing you came to me and didn't come to some kid and you disappointed him. But, oh yeah, here are the parts here. This is what happened. So this is supposed to have 2 of those, and if you look in there, there's a ball that sits in here that this holds on to, and they lock together. This is going to be hard to explain, and it's going to be even harder to show. But they're supposed to lock together, you know, like this. This is supposed to have 2 and it's broke, and this is supposed to have 2 and it's broken. They lock together like this on a ball and socket connection, and then they spin, you know, round and round and round like a drive line. And yeah, anyway, both of these on both ends were broke. I don't know if they were pulling something absurdly heavy with it, or they were jerking the throttle real hard back and forth, or what exactly they had done, but they were abusive enough with it that it couldn't handle it, and it broke them. There they are. There's the rest of my Athearn parts there. Those are those spline shaft connectors. Got a couple boxes I got to put away from Bachmann Spectrum. I had a train show here not too long ago and picked up 2 Union Pacific. What are they? I think they put tape over the ends of them. Yeah, Diner, Union Pacific. These aren't even the right boxes. But anyway, I picked 2 of them up, and they're pretty cool, and they work really well. I'm pretty impressed with those. Let's see here. Those are going to go to the other room tonight, so I'll just sit them there. That box too. But I need to find me a container specifically for all these Athearn parts. That way when I get my next Athearn Blue box in, I have the right crap to fix it, hopefully. The only thing I don't have anymore is motors. I've got all the motor mounts, I've got spline shafts, I've got all these different connectors, I've got just about everything I need. I've even got these on top, and I have worm gears actually, now that I think about it. There they are. Yeah. I got Ziploc bags with worm gears and stuff in them too. So I got a ton of different parts for Athearns if I need to fix something in a pinch. The only thing I don't have is a motor. And that's something I'm going to really start looking for good deals on pretty hard here in the future. Actually, this is P2KE8, but they look to be Athearn. If they aren't, they're darn close. And they've even got those knuckle adapters like I was talking about. See, that's that ball, and them 2 prongs go on that ball. So there's all of that. Where I think I have one around here somewhere. It's a matter of finding what I'm looking for. I have them little clear like fishing containers that have dividers and sorters in them. Let's see. Where would I have put them? Oh, there. Huh. Well, actually, in this one isn't even that, but this is perfect for it. This was an old wire nut assortment box. It'll be perfect for my Athearn parts. So, for those of you that find satisfaction in this kind of stuff, you'll have a real treat with this. But so I've got, let me empty these out. Let's see what I got here. Part for part. These are a different style, and that's still got the grease in there. Yeah. These are a different style, but these are what hold the worm gear. So I'm going to put them over here. These are the worm gears. They're going to go there, and they've got that ball and socket coupler on them. Same with that. And then here's a couple more of them. Here's them. This is what they look like. They're pressure fit. They fit on a shaft, but they're the ball and socket couple connections. And I'm going to leave them with the worm gears because they go on the worm gears. Here's some more of those worm gear covers that hold everything in place. I'll put them in here with these. All my motor mounts can go in here. Well, I got a staple in there. Let me get that staple out. So there's my motor mounts. I've got these. Put them in here. I've got my spline shafts, which I've only had to cut down one so far, so I still got 7 of these. I'm hoping that I only have to put in short ones so I can cut these in half and conserve them, but we'll see what happens. These, you can't find these at train shows. Seems everybody tends to hoard these, but there we go. I couldn't even get a hold of that darn Ziploc. There we go. So there's our spline shafts, and then there's our spline shafts with our coupler to tie in. And these worked great. These worked awesome on that proto that I repaired. There we go. So there's our Athearn parts. And where is my marker? Well, right on here so I don't have to try to figure it out. If my marker holds out. There we go. One more problem solved. Just one though. I've only got 6,000 others. Here's another dd40 mess that I got over here that needs work. I've been looking for one of these and I have yet to find one. I need the housing for the worm gear. Move this out of the way. So I have this stuff all here for it. That's another paper for a, there we go, for a GP35. I've got a bunch of these little exploding diagrams. These are pretty cool to have. But, so I've got all my parts here. I don't need this stuff yet. That's a plow. I don't need that yet either. But I've got all my pieces here to put this together. And the problem is, this would be perfect, except where it clips on to my truck right here, one of my ears is broke off. Not this one back here, but this one up here. I have one of the ears broke off. So I need another one of these pieces to put on there. And I have looked and looked and looked, and I can't find the right one. I tried using the other ones that I just put away, and they won't work. And now I have the spline shaft I need too. So really the only thing I'm looking for is, see, this goes on here like this. I take that back. I got to put, there's something else that goes on here too. I think there's square ends that got to go on this. No, I take that back. So what happened was this goes in here like this. And then this goes like this. And that's done. And then that spins in there. Well, then this goes on here like this and spins. And the problem is it won't stay together because it's broken. But that stays together like that and spins. Then you take this knuckle and you put it on here like this. And it pops into place. Then you would take this knuckle here and you pop it onto the other side down on the motor right there. And then all you got to have is a spline shaft in between. And when you have the spline shaft in between and this all tied together like this, it all works, which is wonderful, fine and dandy. My only drawback is I just need this damn housing. And without it, it doesn't want to stay in place. And I've tried glue. I've tried a ton of different things, and I can't get it to stick around. And actually, I am going to double check, but I'm almost 100% sure it won't work So I have these Athearn parts that I just sorted. And I had ordered, show you this, I ordered these thinking these would work. And they won't. Because they're not made the same as the others. And I don't think they snap on. Yeah, they're not built the same. They don't snap on like they're supposed to. So these don't work, and these are the ones that kind of have the funky square head to them. I got to have the ones that have that rounded head to them. So I'm stuck till I can find this housing right here. I'm stuck, at least on that particular motor anyway. And I had bought a dummy that had a bad case of zinc pest. And if you don't know what zinc pest looks like, I'll show you. This is another dd40 frame. And if you see that hole right there, that's what zinc pest is. It's like rust. It rots your frames on your locomotives. And it did it down here too, on both sides. And actually, well, I don't think it's done it yet, but it looked like it might be trying to break the frame on this side. So, and I got this one as well, but I looked inside and it's a dummy. It doesn't have gears or anything either. So it might be good if I needed the tabs to replace something, but I can't do much more than that. Do I like the Tyco C430s? I do. I actually have a decent little collection of those. And I also custom painted a couple of them. This one I don't have enough parts to complete, but I made this one from a Silver Streak that was in really bad shape. The only thing left to do this one is clean it up and like get all the dust off, because it's got some dust sitting on it. But get all the dust off and put a coat of matte clear coat on it to seal in the stickers, the water slide decals, and then I will be in pretty good shape. Then all I got to do is, and I've got parts here. I've got enough parts to piece this all together. But then I just have to start building these pieces in and putting this all in, and I'll make a roller out of it. It's probably what I'll do. I have yet to find any Athearn drivetrains that will accept this shell. So I haven't done much else with them. And actually, the first one I want to accept the shell would be one for this. This is an SD24 that's a Tyco, and I'd like to put this on a Athearn chassis, and then just clean it, doctor it up, clean it up a little bit, detail it out a little more. Because I just, for whatever reason, I really have liked this particular design that Tyco made. And I'd like to put that onto something. Let's see, what else do I got going on back there? I've got a GP20 back there in flat black ready for Pin Central. Another F unit back there ready for Pin Central decals. I have a SD40-2, really nice shell that I have yet to find a frame and motor to set it on. I really liked the way these looked. If any of you guys watched, what was it called? Something for kids. When I was a kid, it was Engineer Dave was his name, and what was that called? Kids Vision, maybe? It might have been called Kids Vision. But this was one of the trains that they featured in that show when they were talking about how they worked and how they sorted train cars in a train yard, and how freight trains worked, how passenger trains worked, all that kind of fun stuff. And that was one of those locomotives that was in there that I really liked, and so far I haven't found a good frame for it yet. And I'm cheap, always have been. I like to build my stuff or build things that's broken over buying new off the out of the store. And I just, so far I haven't found what I need to get that accomplished. But yeah, that's where I'm at with this one. This one would be perfect if I could just find the correct knuckles for it. I just haven't got that far yet. And it looks like, which I thought was interesting, this one actually has a way to be tied together in the center whenever some of my other ones don't. So I thought that was kind of interesting too. But yeah, these are supposed to sit like this, tied together. And then naturally this goes under here. And then you got your shaft that runs over and hooks to your gearbox head. And I just don't have another head for it. And I don't think I have anything sitting around that I could rob one out of. I know I have a locomotive around here somewhere that wobbles when it walks. I don't know if it's this one or not. If it's this one, we might be able to fix it. And I'll just take the body and I'll put it on a different locomotive. But let me look here and see what I've got going on. Let me set this one off to the side. I'll set that in there for now. Let me set this back here. And let's see here. So let's put it on here and see what it does. If this is the right one, then if this one's the right age, I might be able to rob the housing out of it. Oh, no. That one does exactly what it's supposed to. Okay, so it's not that one. Maybe it's this one. One of them makes an absurd noise when being moved around. Yep, it's this one. Yep. I think what I'm going to do, this is one I've done some investigating on, and this one's in real nice shape. I need to put it away with my dd40s when I go to put things away. This one I'm going to end up gutting is what I'm going to end up doing, so I can fix this one and put another dd40 together. This one's been dropped at some point in its life. Yeah, I sure wish Tyco had better motors too, Gerald. I really do. This one somebody's dropped it on one end and bent the gearbox, and I've worked at it and worked at it and worked at it and never been able to get the gearbox to actually come back straight like it should be. So I've got a good body or a good shell here with almost all the frame rails on it, or handrails on it. So I'm going to save that shell. And I think, look at that. I bet that will go on my dd40. I got money that'll go on my dd40. I can gut the rest of it and save it for another project and put parts away. So I hate doing this because I like to see old things run again, but this one's got a gearbox bent up so bad I can't get it straight. So what we're going to do is I'm going to save at least, can save all the parts. So I'm going to put this over here so I can sort, and we're going to go ahead and take this one apart. Because unfortunately this one's just not gonna make it. I should be able to get this out real easy. Those motor mounts look like they're in pretty good shape. I cannot risk breaking the housings taking it apart. These should come out rather easy too, I would think. The motor's in good shape too, so if I need a motor, then I'll have a spare motor as well. Let me see if I can push these out without messing them up. Oh, there we go. There's one. There's one. There's one. One more. Trying to do it without jarring it real bad and breaking something. There it goes. Okay. Those are loose. So this should come right out. And those motor mounts are in pretty good shape, and they're actually really pliable. They're like new. So I got motor mounts there. I'm going to leave these knuckles on because there's really no need to take those off. This all flows good like it should. And for anybody that's never tested one of these or understands how to test one to see if the motor works, I'll show you real quick. So the way these work is it doesn't matter which way your power feeds. It just is going to influence the way the motor turns when you turn your controller on. So the only reason that this is important is if you're trying to make sure all your locomotives turn the same way whenever you're controller is on and running the same way. So if you take and you put power to one side, which I clamped it to my contact ball on top, and I touch the bottom, which I'm going to be smart here, and I'm going to take these off because it will throw them. It will sling them wherever it wants to sling them. So I'll put those in there. But we'll put our alligator grip up on top. I'm going to try to hold this close so you can see. I'm going to turn this up. Actually, I'm not going to go that far. We don't need it to shoot out of my hand. But you can touch the bottom. And that's how you figure out what you're doing here. All I did was turn on my controller. And you touch a wire to the top and you touch a wire to the bottom of these Athearn motors. And this one smells a little oily, but it runs rather well. So we know we got a good motor here. And I'm going to sit that in here. I think I'm going to sit it in here with the motor mounts. Let me turn this back off and put that to the side so we don't get any sparkies going. Move my motor mounts over and I'll just sit that motor in there amongst the motor mounts. Perfect. Because a motor on eBay, it's not hard to spend $30 if you want to. I mean, sometimes you get lucky and find one for $10 shipping, but a lot of times you end up paying $20 plus shipping for a motor. So there's that. Now, if you look inside here, the way these are designed, it's just a ball and socket knuckle. Can you see that? That's all it is one of these. And these will fix protos. If these are broke on your protos, this will fix it. So we'll sit that in there. We're going to go to the other side. We'll pop this one too. Put it in there. Now we're down to just the side frames, the gearboxes, the chassis, the actual frame itself, my couplers, which I'm going to go ahead and pop those off. We'll sit them there and sit them here, like so. And I have a box here that I use strictly for couplers, so those will get sorted off into those. The next thing I'm going to do is take the piece I need. The piece I need is right here. And if you look, it's those tabs down there. I'm going to point out with my screwdriver. These tabs right here are what you can break. And if you break them, it makes this useless. So I got to be real careful doing this, trying to get them out of there so I don't bust them off. Because if I break them off, then I've defeated the purpose of disassembling this, other than it was messed up anyway and it doesn't want to go to begin with. So let's try to be as gentle as I can here and try to pop these out without breaking. There it goes. Get them off. There we go. And there is the piece I need. And I don't need this piece. This piece can go amongst my stuff in there. I just need, that piece is broke. I just need this piece. So we take this piece and this piece, and they should go together like so. Just like that. And then I can take it and set it on here and pop it on like so. Now that don't fall out anymore. I'm going to take this and pull it up. And now I can start piecing this back together. There's two ways you can do this. And it looks like I am stuck doing it the one way, which is going to be two of these female pieces and a spline shaft. And it doesn't look like I have anything here long enough, because yeah, it's a piece of spline shaft there. I don't have anything in here long enough to go beyond that. So that goes there. This, the only thing left in here that's any good really is this piece here, if I can get this out, and I don't know if I can or not. I think it might be mushroomed in there. It might be made to it, but if it isn't, oh, look at that. It isn't. So that bushing you can keep and save for another one of these housings if you need it. But yeah, this is junk. That's trash. Ain't no good. I got a couple couplers here. Those go there. And I've got this piece here, which I don't need because I already have one on this one. So this one can go. Where's my knuckles? There they go. That one goes in there. Now all I have left is these bent gearboxes and frames. And all I'm going to do here is go ahead and disassemble this whole bottom truck and put them away for use on something else. I can save the gears. I can save the gears on the wheels. I can save these covers if you break a cover. And these are getting harder and harder to find. So definitely worth saving. If you don't know how these work with them being metal side frames, they actually just come apart like this. And so you can see how that's made. It's got the copper contacts in there for picking up power from the wheels. And then here's your wheels. If you ever get one that splits, these are handy because these do sometimes split. The axles split. And then I've got these gears here too. So what we're going to do is I'm actually going to consolidate. I'm going to put all of my ball joint couplers, male and female, in there. And I'm going to put my side frames and gears and wheels all in here. That way I know what it was for, I know why it's there, and it's one place. I might be able to slip this back together. Maybe. And set it in here. Nope. That one piece is too tall. These will have to go somewhere else, but everything else can go in there. That can go in there too. So now we got the other side to take apart. Like I said, you want to be real gentle with these because I've had a heck of a time trying to find them. And I'd rather save these than have to try to hunt them. You just try to be gentle with them so you don't break them. Because if you break these ears off down here, you ruin them. And that's all kind of still one together, one piece. So I'll just leave that together and leave that in there. And there it goes. Here's my frame, which we're going to put with all my other train frames down here. Till I find maybe I'll build something out of it one day, but for now it can stay down there. And now I've got my side frame here to take apart and my gears. Or my truck, I guess is what it is right now. It's two side frames, one truck. So take your cap off. Shows you all the gears. It will come apart. Inspect your axles. If they're not split, that means you got good axles for something else if you need them in the future. Pull your gears. You may need those. I doubt it, but you may. And then your side frames are here. Oh, there's a gear there. Don't miss any of them. And there's those. The bar. I'll leave a bar in there for spare parts. I need these 2 knuckles. I'm going to put up these couplers. And coupler boxes. And the knuckle couplers as well. Those are those fancy metal Katy knuckle couplers. There we go. I'm going to put these away too. I think they're probably the best place for them. So there we go. So we're building my Athearn box there. It's gotten quite the little accumulation, but we're going to come over here to this dd40 body. I'm going to pop this on like that. We're going to come over here. And you got to find the right way that goes on. There it is. Pop that on like that. And you can see I've got a gap here. It's not a very big gap, but I have one. And we're going to go ahead and try to tie this dude together right here. And I don't think this is going to be long enough, but we're going to try it and see what happens. There's one side. Yeah, it's just going to, yeah, see it slid all the way down in there, and we don't need that. We need it to be longer than that, so that one ain't going to cut it. If I had to and I was in a pinch, I could probably make this work, because I could cut off this and have enough shaft there to make it work. But it's not, there's no point in that since I have a brand new spline shaft here. I just want to conserve them as much as I can. So I can put that one in there, and we already can tell we're going to be too long. So what we're going to do is, in order to do this right and get it pretty close, you put it in this coupling and slide it over here. And then that coupling goes to here, and you can see just about how much you're going to miss. And it's hard to show you real easily, but basically, so you have this piece, you have another one just like it, and you have your spline shaft in it. And you basically just have to measure your spline shaft down to fit. So what I'm going to do, I would rather cut off a little first and then more later. But I'm going to cut off this much. I didn't cut off much really, but there was just too much there. I cut off a nub. I didn't cut off hardly anything. Then I'm going to take my razor blade and just take the burrs off the end. You be careful when you do this, and don't be an idiot like me, because there are times that I end up cutting my hand when I should have just done it a little bit smarter. I have a Dremel too. You can use a Dremel to smooth these, but that's all I do is kind of cut that down so there's not a sharp burn there anymore from where I cut it with the cable cutters. So then we'll slip this in like so. Slip this in like so. Slide it over, and we should is the operative word here. I'm trying to find the, there it is. There it is. And now that whole side's together too. So now this whole locomotive is back together and operational. This will work. The only other thing I'm going to do real quick, which I don't normally do on my gears, I usually use grease. I'm going to put a drop of oil in there. I'm going to put a drop of oil in here in the gearboxes just to get the ball rolling. And then I'm going to put a drop of oil on the worm gears. That side actually doesn't need it, but this side does. Next thing I'm going to do is go ahead and put my contact bar on for the moment. This isn't the way it's going to be when I'm finished, but it's going to work for now, so that I can make sure that it actually works like it's supposed to. Bend that back down. That way that all sits in place like it's supposed to. So now we've got this one together. I'm going to slide this to the side and put my tools off to the side so you can see what I'm doing here. We're all together and we're going to see if it works. It should work. Should. And we're not picking up power somehow, some way. So, I've either got a bad connection at the motor, no connection at the frame, or at the deal here. Oh, now we're cooking. I heard it. I heard it make noise. It's this contact bar that's my problem. So, let's keep working on this here. Keep working on this here until we get it right. All right, let's try that. There we go. And like I said, if you hardwire these, it's way easier and they work way better. And you can tell too with this one, I can see it in the frame that it's been dropped at some point because this end is bent upward. And I'm going to have to try to find a way to bend that back down. It's twisted a little too. So if I can, I don't know if I can do it or not. This metal is pretty thick. But I can see it. It's bent. I think you guys can probably see it too, but it's bent upward at an angle. And I don't know without taking it completely apart and putting it in a vise if I can get that actually to come straight. That might have helped it. Me He-Manning it a little bit. That might have made a difference right there. Let me put this back under, pop this back on. Stay under there. What's wrong with you? Come here. Part of that problem too is my ear's a little short, but it should still pick up power from the rear. Yeah. We've got something hanging up somewhere. Try that again. That should work. Yep. Yep, we had something bound up somewhere. I've got the frame pretty straight now. Way straighter than it was. And I don't know if I can get that to stay under there or not. We're going to try. There we go. There we go. But now we got that behemoth to where it'll at least run. But the big thing with these locomotives is to make sure that you keep them lubricated. Otherwise, it's going to be a pain trying to get them to do anything. Let me get my screwdriver here. I'd rather do it this way than break it. I've got that one on. Let's turn it around here. Let's see what we got going on. Held up on something. Oh, I see what we're doing here. We got it just a fuzz forward, I think. Huh. Surely they're not, that bar ain't on there backwards. It could go the other way, I guess. I doubt it, but it's possible. I doubt it, though. We'll try it the other way and see what happens. I don't think these are made... Well, they technically are made to go one way, but I don't think it should matter all that much. Well, ain't gonna do no good if the damn bar won't stay on it. Get under there. And let's try... That's over on that end, and that's over on that end. So... Huh. Okay. So we'll try it like this and see what happens. See if the bar actually stayed on where it was supposed to. And it did. So there's dd40 number 2 of the Southern Pacific paint screen working. And it's a motor setup as well. So I'm excited. We got that one together and going. So technically by rights, I've got 4 dd40s by rights. But this one here, I want to find a different shell for. Since I've already got the Southern Pacific, I'm going to paint this up into something custom for myself. And I'm going to start digging for another shell. I don't think the Athearn dd40AXs, I don't think those will retrofit to these locomotives. So I think I'll have to look for just another dd40 shell. But there's B&O, Burlington, Pennsylvania. There's a few other select shells I can look for out there to get to fit this, and then I can paint the drivetrain to match. So thank you everybody for being in here this evening. I appreciate everybody that stuck it out with me. It's pretty late this evening. I guarantee you. What is it? It's already what, 12:20. So I'm going to shut it down for the evening. Thanks for everybody for jumping across for me from TikTok. It's a shame that they're being the way they are over there, but that's life, and there's not a whole lot you can do about it. We did get a lot finished this evening. I got that dd40 in the background behind that EMD or electromotive. We got that one all painted up. We got this dd40 working. We disassembled another Athearn locomotive to use for parts because it was in rough shape. What else did we do? Yeah, what else did we do? Oh, we fixed that f45 Burlington Northern. So we got a lot accomplished this evening. I'm pretty happy with the results. Make sure you guys stay in touch and check out some of my other videos here on the channel and on TikTok too if you feel like looking at them. I'm starting to transfer everything over from there to here now since things are kind of wonky over there. But thanks everybody for watching. You all have a good evening, and I'll catch you in the next one.